Hey, my name is Fernie, and I'm the pastor here at Mid-City Church. I am so glad you are joining us for worship today. Listen, before we jump into worship, I want you to pay attention to these announcements.
Hey, welcome to Mid-City Church Worship. My name's Katie, and I'm so glad you're here today. As we get started, I want to invite you to take out your cell phone and text the word HERE, H-E-R-E, to the phone number 225-307-0662. When you do that, you will get a text back with links to fill out a Connect card to let us know that you're here and a link to give today. Well, I'm glad you're here. Get ready because worship begins now.
We have watched, we have waited in hope for peace and joy and with love. Now our redemption draws near. Hear the word of the Lord from Isaiah. The people who walked in darkness have seen a great light. Those who lived in a land of deep darkness, on them light has shined. For a child has been born for us, a son is given to us, authority rests upon his shoulders, and he is named Wonderful Counselor, Mighty God, Everlasting Father, Prince of Peace. Glory to God in the highest. Alleluia. Amen.
One waits for a miracle. The heart longs for a little bit of hope. Hope will come, Emmanuel. Shout praise for peace on earth. She's calling out from a sea of hurt. Oh, come, Emmanuel. Can you hear the angels singing glory to light of the world, with the tears of a mother, a baby's cry is the sound of love, come down, Emmanuel. Oh, he is the song for the suffering. He is Messiah, the Prince of Peace has come. Oh, he has come, Emmanuel.
So Merry Christmas, Christmas Eve, actually. I'm excited to have this conversation because this chapter is titled Jesus' Wish List. And I've got to tell you, Mike, one of the things that you mentioned at the beginning of this chapter was the airplane tickets that you bought for Carolyn one year. And how that was like the best gift. And then you were wondering, how am I going to top it off next year? I'm a horrible gift giver. That is not one of my love languages or my strengths. And I always, this is one of the seasons of the year that I dread the most when it comes to buying gifts, because Susie buys these amazing gifts. We give each other a budget, and somehow, like, I can only get one or two things within our budget. She gets like 10 things within our budget. She's an amazing gift giver, outdoes herself every year, but I'm not. I'm horrible at that. And so Christmas Eve, when I first started reading the book about Christmas is not your birthday and thinking, okay, it's Jesus' birthday.
Notice I didn't have to pay anything for those tickets.
Right. You used points. Yeah. That was awesome. But so I'm thinking, okay, so Christmas is not my birthday, right? It's Christmas Eve today. It's not my birthday. What do I even give Jesus, right? Like, I don't know what to give my wife, much less what do I give Jesus? And you talked in here, I loved the way you laid it out about how Jesus gives us a wish list, and we just need to live it out. So can you tell us a little bit about that?
Matthew 25 has the most description, the longest description of judgment. And after Jesus gives the parable in that chapter about the talents of gold, to one he gives 10, to one 5, to one 1, and the one with 1 has no kingdom return. So then he goes into the judgment story, and Jesus said, on that day the shepherd will separate the sheep from the goats. You want to be on the sheep side of things. you know.
Right.
And he said, for I was hungry and you gave me something to eat. I was in prison and you visited me. He lists several things. I was sick and you ministered to me. And his disciples are like, Craig, when did we see you? You know, we're looking for this picture we have of a 2,000-year-old Jesus instead of the living Christ today. And the living Christ today, as he said, he lives in people. He said, Matthew 25:40, inasmuch if you've done it to one of these least of mine, you have done it unto me. Yeah. And so if that's how we serve Christ, if that's how we bless Christ, then we are the least, the oppressed, the marginalized, those in need. As you say, people in Louisiana still living in trailers.
Yeah.
We're, oh man, right now in, is it Myanmar or wherever, huge starvation. Ethiopia, the same. You know, it's why for me, I pray that someone gets a vision like I had for Darfur, because, you know, our agricultural projects, self-sustaining, we're feeding close to 90-some thousand people. Same with our water yards, 90-some thousand people. Our schools, 35,000 kids, the first for women. I saw the need, and when you release it and focus on an area, you know, too many times, like people don't understand in our Methodist system apportionments and stuff like that. But when you adopt an area where you can really make a difference. So, you know, to me, that is the greatest gift. You know, Carolyn and I are praying now what we're going to do for our gift to Jesus that will be a part of the recovery in Louisiana.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, you know, it's interesting because when I first started reading the book, and I talked and you mentioned like Christmas is not my birthday, it's Jesus' birthday. The first thought I thought was, you know, maybe I can, I don't know, wrap up a nice little Bible, right? I mean, I know that sounds cheesy, but like a physical gift that I can give Jesus, right? That in some ways, I'll own this. In the back of my mind, it's how can I gain Jesus' approval with this gift, right? I mean, that's part of gift giving is, are they going to like it? Are they going to use it? Do they even need it, right? But when it comes to giving Jesus a gift, like Jesus, there is no stipulation of you have to serve 50 people in order for me to like this gift, or there's no, it's just go and care for the least of these, right? So giving a bottled water to somebody who's thirsty, that's a gift to Jesus. You mentioned the gifts you talked about, right? For us here in Louisiana, like going to a place that's still, there's still so much destruction from the hurricanes, like that is giving a gift to Jesus. That's
Whatever
Jesus' wish list for us to care
whatever
for
we
the
do
least.
for people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And so I think one of the challenges I want to give to people this week is, especially today on Christmas Eve, is if you see any pain or suffering in the world, you might not be able to eliminate all of it. But like you said, be specific, right? Like maybe I want to give this one person a meal to eat, or whatever it is.
Well,
just
you know,
caring for the least is so important.
one of the things that we do every year is we have a really nice kids camp that we send kids to. So, but for underserved kids, because it's like $300 a kid, it's a nice week experience. You can give a scholarship. So Carolyn and I always give one scholarship for an underserved kid to go to camp, you know, every year. So, I mean, there's so many ways that we can be involved.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So I shared this story with our congregation a couple months ago, but when I was little, my dad took me with him to visit a neighborhood in Juarez, Mexico called Tierra Nueva. and it was at the time one of the poorest neighborhoods in all of Juarez. And I just remember we visited parents and we like families, and we visited their houses, and it was just cardboard houses, one after the other after the other. And this was about a week before Christmas. And I remember Christmas morning waking up and opening my gifts and looking at my dad and saying, or asking him, those kids probably didn't open a gift today, did they? And him acknowledging, like, probably not, right? I mean, if they probably had to choose between gifts and food, and they probably chose food. And that really struck a chord with me. I also know that for my dad grew up really poor, and he never had gifts growing up. Very rarely had gifts growing up. And so from that moment of seeing all these kids, me asking him that question, he started a ministry where every Christmas he would gather gifts and go donate them to a church in this neighborhood, who would then make sure that the kids would get a gift. And it's not a permanent fix. There's a bigger need than gifts. But every Christmas Day, kids were waking up with a gift. And by the time he retired, they're still doing it now, but they did just over 600 gifts. It started with like 20 gifts, and by the time he retired, it was like 600 gifts. I say small because even something small that doesn't fix the solution permanently, it's still caring for the least, right? I mean, I know that giving a kid a gift doesn't fix their poverty, and we're called to fix that too, right? I mean, we need to make a difference on that too. But even if fixing poverty feels overwhelming, start somewhere, right? Give a bottled water, give a gift, like do something that brings hope to people's
Mid-City
lives.
Church has such potential to have holistic ministry. Like, Fernie, you visited so many of our support, including jobs. Well, you didn't see all this Jobs for Life, Clubhouse tutoring, programs or whatever.
Mm.
But one of the things we do to give families esteem is for our food pantry clients, who also have access to our used clothing stores and stuff. We have people bring gifts to the church, and I mean in different new bikes and different things. And then they get so many coupons, colored coupons, for different size gifts based on the need of their family. So the parents come to our discipleship center. Remember, that's where behind the original little two-room church. And all these gifts are out on tables. And so with their coupons, they're purchasing gifts for their kids. Now they're supported through the food pantry too, you see. And that way the children see the gifts coming from their parents or Santa Claus,
Right.
not church people dropping gifts at their house. So how do we build esteem and so forth, and a total kind of support system, at the same time? After school tutoring. Ben Gatton, I don't know if you know him over, all summer long, he did a literacy camp, out of his church for kids, which means he needs adult workers and so forth. But you're exactly right. Whatever we do for people, seeing Christ in people, that's what Mother Teresa was so good at that. Whatever I do for people, if I wash their feet, if I bring them in, they're dying on the street, I'm doing it to the body of Jesus.
Well, we're doing something called the Giving Tree. And today, 15 kids, we adopted 15 kids, and they put together a Christmas wish list along with their parents and gave it to their principal, and their principal gave us the list. And we adopted 15 kids, and 15 kids got a gift for Christmas today that our church sponsored. Like, our church members bought gifts for them. I have a friend of mine who tomorrow, December 25th, he's going to bike 66 miles because he's 66 years old. And his wife died about 2 months ago, and he's asking people to donate $20. Like, he promises to run 66 miles. He wants people to donate $20 to any organization that makes a difference in this world. And so, I mean, there's so many different ways that we can serve people and be the hands and feet of God in this world. Yeah. So let me ask you, Christmas Eve today, what is one challenge you would give people as far as this conversation we've had about caring
Yeah.
for the least? I think on Christmas Eve, it's so easy to forget about that because we're all in our own little bubbles. We go to church as a family, or we go to church in general, and we have dinner with family, or we're going to travel, or whatever it is. It's so easy to get into our little bubbles. But on Christmas Eve, what's your biggest challenge for
Well,
us
I
today?
think it would be to, as families, we need to remember Christmas is hard for some people. Like you said, the loss of a loved one, a divorce, or what. So we need to be aware of that. But is there somebody who's going through a hard time who's going to be by themselves that you could invite over
Mhm.
for dinner? And I know that can be hard because you see, if you're like me, I'm an introvert, and I see, um, just family, kind of. I think any other kind of way um, to really talk about the meaning of Christmas. Sometime
Mhm.
for those of us who gather in groups, you know, um, how is this Christmas different for you? Where are you in this God journey?
When it comes to Christmas Eve, and you know this as pastors, there is a lot of work that happens on Christmas Eve. And so by the time I get home, Susie and I have a tradition. We order Chinese food. We watch A Christmas Story. Usually it's A Christmas Story because I love that movie. And we open gifts and we relax. Um, any interruptions in that, it's really annoying for me because like I've worked so hard. I just want this to go right, and it doesn't
Uh,
always go right. But I will say, like, I think one of the interruptions is that, and this has happened to me before, where on Christmas Eve the service is about to end, and I'll tell people, "Are y'all gonna have dinner? What are y'all gonna do?" And no, we really couldn't afford it this year. That's an interruption right there that I could so easily say, "Come to my house. We're gonna have more Chinese food than we can eat. Let's eat with us, watch a movie with us, and then go home after." Right? I mean, inviting those types of interruptions in our lives is um, that's such a great way to give Jesus a gift. To stick with the chapter, right? I mean, those interruptions can lead to some beautiful things.
yeah. And I think that's it. I'll never forget. Um, Chevy Chase in that movie Christmas Vacation says to his dad, "Dad, how do you get through these things?" And I mean, it just was
Mhm.
bizarre. The tree blew up, the cat died, the squirrel ran through everything else.
To the
He
house.
did. I'll never forget because our kids were young and we were staying in a hotel someplace when that line of cussing comes on. And we're
Hmm.
saying I couldn't get to the TV fast, no. But he said, "Dad, how do you get through this?" And he said, I get through it with a little help from Jack. And he meant Jack Daniels. All I'd say is don't get
Hmm.
too much help from Jack.
True.
Yeah.
I agree. Yeah, yeah. Well, Mike, thank you so much. I want to wish
You
you a
too.
Merry
And
Christmas. Um,
all of our brothers and sisters. Yeah. I appreciate
Likewise,
it.
likewise.
Blessed Christmas.